The King of the Ring tournament heads into the semi-finals, but what will happen now that semi-finalist Elias is out with an injury, and what will happen when The Undertaker returns to Madison Square Garden for this special edition of Smackdown? Join us as Wrestlelamia looks at your Smackdown Live recap for the 10th September 2019 edition, along with the good, the bad, and the damn right ugly, as well as the latest wrestling news, including a slew of WWE injuries and much more. New York's historic Madison Square Garden is hosting Smackdown Live tonight, with Tom Phillips, Corey Graves and Byron Saxton calling the action. The show opens up with The Undertaker as he enters the ring and talks about the legends and memories made here at the hallowed grounds of Madison Square Garden. Sami Zayn shows up and praises The Undertaker for his many accomplishments. However, it's time for the Phenom to pass the torch to Sami Zayn, and while the fans may want Zayn to take Taker out, he's asking Taker to leave. The Undertaker goes to leave as Zayn celebrates a bit prematurely, with The Undertaker chokeslamming him for his insolence. Backstage, Chad Gable meets with Shane McMahon to discuss the King of the Ring semi-final. Great, I guess we've got Shane back now. Shane tells Gable Elias is out of the third round match due to a broken ankle. Gable thinks he's getting a bye, but Shane tells him he'll find a replacement for him, and it could be from Raw or SmackDown, or even someone who's already been eliminated. The first match of the night is between Andrade with Zelina Vega versus The Miz, and it's a tune-up match as The Miz wrestles Andrade before his match against Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura at Clash of Champions this weekend. Nakamura is at the announce table and distracts The Miz, but the A-lister holds off Andrade's offense, hitting the skull-crushing finale for the win. After the match, Nakamura attacks The Miz with the Kinshasa. Backstage, Shane O'Mac reveals he's talked to Elias, who approved his selection for his substitute. Shane McMahon. Was anybody expecting anybody else? Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, aka Fire and Desire, mock Nikki Cross's looks before Rose's match against one half of the women's tag team champions. Cross manages to get the win with a roll-up though. The tag team Heavy Machinery are seen operating a smoothie machine backstage. Yeah, weird. Local talent have arrived, and they're facing the now smoothie drinking Heavy Machinery. Of course, Heavy Machinery pick up a quick win. Backstage, Shane McMahon meets with Kevin Owens, who's still fretting about the fine Shane slapped on him for attacking guest referee Elias way back when. Owens is asking Shane O'Mac to reconsider the fine, and Shane throws him a referee shirt, telling him to referee the match and go do the right thing so the fine can go away. Eric Rowan is in the ring and he's got lots to say. People thought he was a follower, but last week, he proved he's a cold, calculating manipulator. People need to fear him as he has a mind to guide his muscle. Roman Reigns doesn't seem to care what Rowan's deal is and runs out attacking the big man. There's an all-out brawl as WWE officials and referees try to restore order, eventually dragging Rowan to the back after he clobbers Reigns with a piece of camera equipment. Next up, a non-title match between SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley versus Ember Moon. Charlotte Flair is at the announce table watching the action, but Bayley manages to get the win with a Bayley to belly suplex. Can someone please change that goddamn music? There is no reason for her to come out to Disney Channel music now that she's heel, and someone paint those damn inflatables black. That should show us she's a heel. After the match, Charlotte enters the ring and gestures that Bayley's belt is going to be hers. Charlotte offers a hug, but Bayley doesn't seem to be in a friendly mood tonight. Kevin Owens looks at his referee shirt, deep in thought. This would make a great Twizzlers commercial, as he's probably thinking, should I turn heel again? Kofi Kingston talks about how special the Garden is to him and promises more punishment for Randy Orton at Clash of Champions. Orton comes out and reviews his many accomplishments, mocking Kofi's fake Jamaican accent and positive attitude. He even manages to drop the S-bomb during his promo. Kofi goes after Orton and the two brawl, including some chair shots, with Kofi hitting the boom drop. The announcers now reveal that Sunday's Roman vs. Rowan match is now a no disqualification match. It's the main event and the King of the Ring semi-finals match, as Shane O'Mac, who replaced Elias, will be going up against Chad Gable, with Kevin Owens as special guest referee. Gable shocks McMahon by executing the Chaos Theory and pinning him for the 3 count, but then Shane announces the match is going to be 2 out of 3 falls. Special referee Kevin Owens is surprised, but the second fall begins. Shane blindsides Gable, throwing his head into the announce table. Shane does what he can do with the momentum, but when KO refuses to let Shane use a chair, Gable rallies and applies the ankle lock, getting the submission, and holy moly, Chad Gable advances to the King of the Ring finals, where he'll face Baron Corbin. Are we in Bizarro World or what? After the match, Owen tells McMahon he did what he could, but Shane is irate. McMahon attacks KO from behind and tells him he's fired. But that was a quick recap of SmackDown. What about the good, the bad, and the damn right ugly? Let's start off with the good, as number 1, ROWAN vs Roman. Rowan's promo was actually good and helped establish him as an individual as opposed to his traditional role as a follower. The follow-up brawl with Roman Reigns was a good build towards Sunday's pay-per-view match, and the WWE continues to use Reigns wisely, keeping him out of the title picture as they continue trying to build the WWE Universe's fondness for him. Rowan vs Reigns should be an action-packed brawl, and with Hell in a Cell round the corner, expect some sort of follow-up stipulation match that's even bigger than their no disqualification bout for this Sunday. But that was really the only good. What about the bad as number 1, Kevin's cash crisis? The WWE Universe has to feel bad for Kevin Owens with SmackDown's working class hero struggling to pay the $100,000 fine Shane McMahon hit him with after Owens attacked crooked special referee Elias. While the Kevin Owens babyface run has been enjoyable, it's difficult to imagine a main event WWE superstar struggling to pay a $100,000 fine. Sure, it's not chump change, but it defies logic that Owens would be distraught at the fine. Does he have a gambling problem? Does his family have great medical expenses? A quick aside could explain why Kevin Owens is strapped for cash, but once again the Blue Brand's writers gloss over the details, hurting a storyline. Number 2, the Chad Gable conundrum. The WWE hasn't done a good job building up Chad Gable as a viable King of the Ring competitor. Sure, they gave him 3 wins to advance him to the finals, but all along they've mocked his height and even implied Gable is uncertain if he has what it takes. Even if the WWE wants Baron Corbin to go over in the tournament, they could have and should have picked a better opponent. Barring a match of the year performance by Gable, the WWE has wasted this year's King of the Ring tournament after a strong start. Number 3, too much repetition. While the WWE is doing a good job showing how the Kofi Kingston vs Randy Orton program has turned into a feud based on personal animosity, the brawl seems repetitive rather than anything exciting. It's the ages-old problem of how many times you can run the same segment without it getting old. Tonight's requisite Randy Kofi brawl reached that point. But that was the good, the bad. What about the damn right ugly? As it's a pity that SmackDown doesn't air on Monday night instead of Raw, because this show would have been close to being a complete dog, and Wrestlelamia would have loved to see how poorly it fared against Monday Night Football. With the exception of the Roman brawl, this was the most by the numbers show the WWE could have put on. The lack of creativity showed throughout the entire program, whether it was Sami Zayn taunting The Undertaker, 2 different wrestlers making appearance at the announce table so they could confront their pay-per-view opponents, or Shane McMahon inserting himself into the King of the Ring. The WWE wasted the show with Heavy Machinery squashing some local talent, and even worse, participating in a stupid segment where they made a smoothie. To quote Tony Schiavone, that'll put butts in the seat. If the WWE wanted to show they have no idea what to do on SmackDown, they succeeded. If they wanted to phone in the show, they succeeded. If they wanted to give Fox executives more reason to worry about buying the rights to the SmackDown shit show, they succeeded. The fact that Raw has been putting on good to excellent shows over the summer while SmackDown has been putting on a string of below average with on occasional average or better show is all the more frustrating. Last night's SmackDown unfortunately was an ugly mess. But that was our review of SmackDown as well as a recap. Let's get into the news, as our first story looks at Raw ratings get wrecked. Are you ready for some football? It appears the answer is yes, as the return of Monday Night Football's regular season put a big dent into Raw's ratings. According to Dave Shearer of PW Insider, the 9th September edition of Raw, up against Week 1 of Monday Night Football, brought in 2.13 million overnight viewers, way down from last week's 2.507 million overnight viewers. As you can see from the figures, Raw experienced a huge drop in Hour 3. Dave Meltzer put things into perspective, observing even Steve Austin couldn't save Raw from Monday Night Football last night. Raw averaged 2.13 million viewers, its second lowest modern era mark in history for a non-holiday show. The 15.4% drop from last week was much larger than usual for the first show against football. The numbers speak to the audience watching Raw being less loyal as compared to other years when football started. The only episodes of Raw in modern history that did worse was a June 10th show against the NBA Finals, and this past Christmas and New Year's Eve shows, which really shouldn't even count in comparison. The most notable thing is that the Austin segment should have been held for later in the episode, as Raw opened up well in the first quarter, fell once Austin left, and continued to decline the rest of the show, with the main event being one of the lowest rated matches in Raw history. None of the stats are good. The third hour was the lowest third hour except for Christmas and New Year's. The first to third hour drop, largely due to Austin, was the sixth worst in history at 21.9%. The audience was down 22.3% from last year's first show against Monday Night Football. Raw was 10th for the night on cable, trailing news shows, football-related programming, and the 3.36 million viewers for a very Brady renovation on Home and Garden. The numbers are nothing short of disastrous, particularly Hour 3, which plummeted from Hour 2. One of Raw's strengths since the Paul Heyman era has been the show's ability to maintain its audience from Hour 1 to Hours 2 and 3. There was nothing bad about last night's Raw, as we noted in our analysis. The show featured a string of entertaining matches and segments throughout the night. But will the WWE take this as an isolated incident, or will Vince McMahon go into panic mode? Frankly, McMahon should be focused on fixing SmackDown Live. Next up, the WWE injury bug biting. As we know, Elias is out with a broken ankle, just one of several injuries affecting WWE superstars. Fightful Select reports that Oney Lorcan and Jack Gallagher were also listed as unavailable due to injuries, while Samoa Joe and Carmella were both featured under new injury return dates categories, though no injury or actual return date was listed. In better news, Jinder Mahal and Bobby Lashley are expected back earlier than previously projected. Mahal is expected to be back on 1st November and Lashley around 14th October. Drew McIntyre is also expected to be back on 16th September. However, on a sadder note, Brian Knobbs, one half of wrestling's Nasty Boys, is said to be suffering from a terrible knee infection. This has left him in need of a total knee replacement. A GoFundMe page has been set up to help. We put the link in the description below. Next up, a smaller MSG crowd. As if the Raw ratings weren't bad enough, the WWE's attendance for its MSG SmackDown was lacking, as according to PWInsider.com, much smaller crowd for SmackDown in Madison Square Garden, sections topped off for half of the upper levels. In light of the WWE's wretched Raw ratings, should the promotion be concerned that it has so much trouble selling tickets for Raw and SmackDown Live at Madison Square Garden? And our last story looks at the WWE Network officially announcing its tier system. The WWE Network has hinted at insinuating a tiered content platform, something confirmed by WWE Today in an interview with Verge.com with WWE co-president George Barrios. It'll start off from free, as this will offer the same free-to-watch videos you'd normally find on WWE.com. Barrios said WWE might also offer time previews of paid WWE Network content. Going up from that is regular. This is the standard WWE Network experience, combining free content with subscription benefits like pay-per-views, on-demand streaming, and original programming. And the top tier is premium. We think there's also an opportunity to super serve our most passionate network subscribers with a premium tier that'll bring together more content for them, more features for them, and also integrating some of our non-video services like our commerce, potentially integrating something like free shipping, bringing together our digital ticketing efforts in there. It becomes one place to experience everything WWE. Whilst they listed the tiers, there was no mention of cost for the premium tier. But there you have it guys, your recap for SmackDown, as well as the latest wrestling news. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.